are establishing this wine business and you have already uh, kind of reached that stage where the wine business is like there is competition and you are trying to, you have entered a very congested space. So, how do you distinguish your business vis-a-vis the competition, Nicholas? I'm sorry about.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say about that. Since your question initially was about, the past 6 months,
Mhm.
well, in our case, we were very lucky. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not happy about the pandemic. Obviously, this is a very bad thing. But in the case of wine, and the wine business is to start with, before the pandemic, it's a market which is very late online. Okay, it's only less than 3% for a number of factors, regulations. Very hard to ship alcohol interstate, and the value of bottles, shipping cost, and there are many factors which made wine really, really late as opposed to other products, other retail products. So the pandemic was just an enormous push of people finally realizing that actually there are very good solutions to buy wine online. And it is a very competitive market, not only online, but in general. You can, of course, get wine from everywhere. So if you want to thrive there, you have to make a difference and bring a new product. So this, again, in our case, was very aligned with the fact that people had to stay home, because our experience is very different, because it's based on blind tasting. It's based on the fact that you discover your personal taste. It's also a little bit wine education and wine discovery. Let's say it's a fast track for not only millennials, but anybody who, at some point thinks, okay, this is very hard to guess and to understand wine. I don't want to spend 20 years. Actually, you really need to be a professional to understand wine. Even people think of themselves like as wine connoisseurs when they're in front of a blind tasting. It's kind of humility session where you figure out, well, it is more complicated than I thought. So
Mhm.
we're basically solving that problem in general by making it fun. And it's particularly aligned with the fact that, if you have time at home and you're drinking a good glass of wine, you might as well enjoy it, right? And enjoy the experience and learn something on the way. So our experience, which was designed not for the pandemic, obviously, but previously and completely online with an app and everything, was a perfect fit for those past 6 months. And
Mhm.
in general, obviously, the people, I mean, the wine online market has been growing crazy, like between 70 100%, depending on the market research you read.
Mhm.
But it comes from very low number, right? When you're talking
Yeah.
less than 3%, for instance, in China, 25% of wines are sold online. So you see the huge gap of cultural way of buying.
Yeah.
And I always think that, so if you look at the numbers right now, the pandemic is a boost, right? Like in many other sectors in food and beverage in general. So
Mhm.
probably you're going to see double growth in the next 3 4 years as it was planned previous pandemic, but also because you
Yes.
start with much lower numbers.
Yeah.
So I always think that if you want a change of behavior happening, okay, this is like an external factor. So this is the black
Yes.
swan, which in our case is kind of a white swan. But
Mhm.
you need to have components in your product and in your experience that are really differentiating and that are solving problems. So, and that accelerates the factor. And this is why, yeah, so more recently we have more traction also in the press, because we start to get noticed as something really innovating.
Mhm.
And the last thing I want to say here is that this is America. So there is a lot of marketing gimmicks. There is a lot of, overselling things. And, in the case of our industry, wine, which is very, very particular because you have a million SKUs, literally, it's really hard to figure out. You have all sorts of people which are telling you that this $6 bottle shipped to your home, which means since there are shipping costs, that is like $1 worth of wine, is like premium selected, one of the best, etc. So there
Yeah.
are, you get what you pay for. So it's a market where every time there is an opportunity, and I'm coming to my point, is you will always have scams and people coming in
Yeah.
with fake promises and saying, and that's to resonate to a competition question, right? So
True.
we are doing the right thing with data science backed and really like very very strong feature embedded in the product. We're making our customers super happy with like very very strong retention,
Wonderful.
but it's in a very growing market online, but it is sometimes hard when you see a lot of like people doing yeah like all sorts of marketing tactics which are not really in the interest of the consumer. So anyway.
Great. Great. I must say that's an excellent insight that you shared there. I mean, being transparent with your consumers and making sure uh, what they pay for, they're getting the best. I think the experience matters. And in today's world, I think that differentiation should always stay there.